Hello, thanks for joining us. This is Live at Lunch from KRFC 88.9 FM. I'm your host, Daniel, also known as DJ Throughline. We broadcast from the Ginger and Baker studio in the heart of the music district here in Fort Collins, Colorado. We are streaming worldwide on krfcfm.org. The show is also available as a podcast and on YouTube. Here in the studio with me is a one-man band that boasts a racing stripe kick drum, chains, railroad track anvil, an old telephone microphone, and guitars with a voice ranging from Andrew Bird to Tom Waits. DW Doucet, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's just kick it off with a song.
All right, this song is called All Our Wings Are Broken Ends. So low, and all our wings have broken ends, and all our dreams, they tend to say, well, I won't dance way back home. And I roam so long, what a dream of you, and I felt your ghost right next to me. And if I could see all your light, well then I would dance all the way back home. Dream so long, wanna hold you close, and I felt your ghost, well, right next to me. Well, I could see, well, now all your light, well, now I would dance the way back home. Ready. In the alleyway at dawn, Donnie lost the fight, but he felt alive when he cried at 4 in the morning, and he felt like praying. gonna change this time. Let go of the years gone by. Mary's talking to God, and in her dream she left everything behind, but she's working behind the counter when she felt like running. Feeling down low, well, it haunts for miles. Well, nothing's gonna stop us now, even when we lose the fight.
Thanks, DW.
Hey.
What was the name of that second song?
That song's called Donnie Lost the Fight.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's get into your story, DW. One of the things that I like to ask folks about, and a personal passion of mine, is how geographic locations have influenced people when it comes to the music that they like, the person that they've become, relationships that they've had, all of these things. Tell us a little bit about where you originally come from and where you've been before you landed here in Fort Collins.
Right. Yeah. It's been a hell of a journey, I would say. Thus far. I was born in Canada. My father's family is from Eastern Canada, in the Atlantic seaboard of Canada, in a town called Shetty Camp, Nova Scotia, and I was born in Toronto, and my father was a computer programmer.
Okay.
And eventually made his way where the jobs were, which at the time was in Los Angeles, California. So I grew up in LA, and that's where I was. However, I spent a lot of time in Nova Scotia in Eastern Canada kind of growing up. So I kind of feel like I grew up in two places in a way. But Canada, and specifically Eastern Canada, has a very high grasp on me spiritually. It's somewhere that I feel, really at home, I guess, spiritually. But however, I made it here to Fort Collins, and I love this music scene. And it was just kind of happenstance how I ended up here. But yeah, I'm really loving being here. And recently, I moved away. I moved back to the East Coast for a couple of years, and then when I was gone, I saw that Folk MX was happening, and I felt so sad and out of place. I was like, gosh, I'm missing it, so much right now. And eventually, I just made my way back here.
Great. Does Idaho as a place figure largely in your story at all?
Yeah. So when I graduated college, my parents moved up to northern Idaho, in a town called Bonners Ferry, and they're still there to this day. And I actually lived there for a couple of years, and I worked at a lumber mill. And it's kind of, there's something special about the nature of Idaho as well. But yeah, most recently it kind of brought me into a whole different space spiritually there as well, because doing hard manual labor like that can really put you in a different kind of place where, you kind of learn all sorts of things about yourself.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, for me personally, a lot of my work involved labor as well. And, I'm not necessarily of the belief that there aren't many people that do that anymore, but, it's it's something that you can never forget. And it's certainly been an inspiration for me and drawn me to certain styles of music. And that's something that I gather from the whole setup that you have here, is it seems in some ways kind of expressive of maybe a blue collar or working person's kind of creativity. Yeah, you might say.
Yeah, yeah, and I would say, I mean, it is kind of raw and organic in its form. The suitcase here is from a junkyard here in Colorado.
Okay.
Shout out to Nate, if you're listening. He sold me this thing, and he's like, name a price, and I'm like, oh, $15. And so I got this from Nate, and the chains I got from a Willie Nelson song, Time of the Preacher. Like during the chorus, there's some chains rattling. You can kind of hear it back there. So I got the idea from that. And then this railroad track anvil, I got kind of out of listening to a Tom Waits song. And so it all came together over the span of a few years. And then I was playing a live show at Surfside 7, probably back in 2018 or something like that. And a guy came up to me after the show. He says, hey, I build telephone mics. I think this would be really cool for your setup. I'm like, okay, great. Let's do it. So it all comes together. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It does kind of have, it is very much from the earth and from a very earthy space.
I dig it. It's great.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for getting into that. And this is one of the really special things about our Live at Lunch opportunities being video recorded is, if somebody was just to hear your music, streaming on the radio or whatever the case may be, wouldn't have the opportunity to see these things. So the fact that your drum is actually a suitcase is pretty tremendous. It's really unique. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on instruments, tell me a little bit about the guitar that you're playing.
This guitar is brand spanking new. It's called a Swamp Dog. Sweet. It's a resonator guitar by Recording King Guitars, and I initially purchased this for a jazz project that I'm in, kind of like a street jazz, sort of thing. And a lot of the street jazz performers play resonator guitars because they amplify really loud into the the outside space, but once I bought it, I kind of just tuned it to the open C that I usually have it in. I'm like, my gosh, this sounds great. So I'm kind of keeping it for, this, one-man band gig. But yeah, it's a great guitar. It's new. It's served me well thus far,
Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
You want to get into another song?
I would love to. Cool. This one's a new one. This one is called Song Across the Sidewalk, which is a John Fonte reference from his book called Ask the Dust. But this song is about specifically those who kind of grew up in small towns and not knowing what to do on a Friday night, and kind of just hanging out in front of 7-Elevens for the whole night waiting for something to happen. And it also references my mother, who she was a heavy smoker for, 30 years or something like that. And when she quit, I was with her when she quit. And I told her, she said, on my deathbed, I'm going to, smoke like a chimney, And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So it has kind of a reference to my mom there as well. So this is for you, Mom. And this is also an ode to my Friday nights as well, when I was, a teenager. So yeah, I hung out in front of 7-Elevens. Lived my life by a corner store. My dreams never left, they just don't come around anymore. Got a bed full of memories. Last night I danced like a demon. I could still let go, but I still go home to lose. Like every time. Am I half the way to home? Or am I half dead and I don't know? I'm just a runaway star. These days I like my pain, 'cause it reminds me of the rain, sitting there on the red curb. You said I'm a throwaway, but I still have my songs and my video store career, and all the things that keep me warm. Like trying to start my car, like my mother's last cigarette, and when she always said that on her deathbed, just one more time, got a lot left to lose, and I don't want to win. I just wanna feel my life was always wrong, but I'm still breathing. I found a reason to stay here, and I ain't gonna move. I ain't no runaway star. This one's called The Devil's Handgun. Yourself on a restless train. Well, damn those hearts of gold. Lay your hand in mine. Find me down below, and you waste away on a restless train. a sign that my demons are dead and gone, and I waste away.
Devil's Handgun, D.W. Doucet. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us here at Live at Lunch on KRFC 88.9 FM. Again, streaming worldwide at krfcfm.org and on YouTube and available as podcasts everywhere you can get your podcasts. I want to give a quick shout out to our staff and volunteer support group here. Greg, Eric, Carrie, and Dave. Thank you all for being here, for helping with audio-visual support with this interview with DW. That was great. That last tune was Devil's Handgun, correct?
Yes.
I am not a musician myself, but I love music. I love to curate it. I love to listen to it. I love to listen to all things. But I'm always so curious to learn from musicians about the songwriting process. Tell us what it's like for you, DW.
I mean, there's several ways to go about it. Kind of the way that I've done it historically for myself is usually, almost always, has been with the start of a song title. Kind of like starts the framework for what the song could be or can be imagined to be. Which is, I have songs entitled like Whiskey Kisses on the Railroad Tracks and, The Devil's Handgun, that one kind of had that sort of raw feeling that I could imagine it as soon as I came up with the title. There's also this song called Shots of Gasoline in the Bunkhouse with Daphne is on my new record. And that's, just kind of like a country song. So that definitely helps. The other way has been just by playing, just by kind of just getting as loud as you possibly can, and just kind of screaming and hooting and hollering. And then there's another way that a friend of mine, his name is Willie T. Taylor, he kind of plays around here a whole bunch sometimes. But he told me that what he'll do, and I've been doing this, what he'll do is he'll imagine himself as an audience member looking out at the musician, and you kind of like put yourself in their shoes of what they're feeling and thinking watching you perform. And usually you can kind of come up with ideas through that. And that's kind of a really hard thing to do, because you have to put yourself in your mind, you have to put yourself into someone else's shoes and feel something as someone else. So, but I've used that for a couple of my last songs, and it works too. But everything has you kind of use a combination of things. And I'm pretty big on the storytelling aspect of tunes. I've always been kind of big on meanings behind the songs, and kind of like the song Across the Sidewalk about my mom quitting smoking, and she wants to smoke on her deathbed, and about hanging out in front of 7-Elevens. There's a lot of the human element of each own's individual stories kind of shines through in a lot of my songs.
Absolutely. They're very expressive. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And as I was thinking about things that we could talk about, what you just shared about your own process is something that I had never heard before. So it's just fascinating, and I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Have you always considered yourself a storyteller? Have you ever been a writer, or do you express yourself in other ways besides music?
Not entirely. Not in any kind of professional sense. I kind of get the storytelling aspect from my father. I'm also so my father. He grew up with the same disability that I have, which is a speech impediment. It's like a stutter, stammer. And I also stutter and stammer as well, especially, a lot worse as a kid than I do now. I still, do from time to time. But when people with this specific, disability, there's certain things that they can do that will help them not stutter. Singing is one of them, like you don't, stutter when you sing. Or if you whisper, or if you use an accent. These are things like, different tools you can use to, not stutter. And one thing I noticed about my father, and my father had this really adventurous life in his 20s. He kind of sold everything that he owned, and he went to, he rode a moped around Europe for 6 months or something like that. But he also went into Africa, and he went to Afghanistan for some time. And he had all these wild things happen to him while he was there. So growing up and being around, the dinner table and getting him to hear his stories, my father would never stutter when he tells his stories. He's in it. He flows right through. He knows how to express, and he won't stutter. And it's kind of the same thing, for me, for the most part, But I was very fascinated by those stories as a young kid, and it's kind of what inspired me through and through to, I guess, tackle songwriting like this. And yeah, that's what I feel, comfortable with. And it's been a hell of a journey so far.
That's amazing, man. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to come back to kind of a geography thing with thinking about what you had shared about where you were originally raised in Eastern Canada. Mm-hmm. Was it pretty rural there?
So our family would usually go for the summers, when I was a kid. So, we go there for a couple months every summer, So, mm-hmm. Spend a couple months out of the year in this place between Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Grand Etang, Shetty Camp, and Cape Breton Island is kind of where we would, spend our time. Yeah, what was the question again?
Well, I was trying to link up the idea of a potentially urban upbringing. I mean, certainly Bonners Ferry, place like northern Idaho, is relatively rural, absolutely right? Rural, but then a comparison in some ways to your time in Los Angeles, which might have been kind of shocking or a pretty big difference. Right?
Exact opposites, yeah. So, I got to get both of those experiences. To the extremes, because LA, one of the biggest cities in the world, and also just the culture of LA too. It's completely different. And then, spending time in by the ocean, in essentially a, fishing village, and I drove a lot of inspiration, from those experiences. and being around that. And I just feel so lucky to have that kind of place that I can know that that's like, oh, that's a place where like I would like to die.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone also has that kind of. I imagine everyone kind of figures it out over time, but like a place where like you would like to like if you have a couple days to live, it's like, oh, put me on a plane. I want to die out by the ocean in Cape Breton Island. So it's that special to me,
Yeah, that's really cool. I don't know that many people actually do. And speaking on my behalf, I have thoughts, but I'm not 100% certain.
Sure.
That's really cool that you do. Before we get into some more music, quick preference. Do you prefer the Pacific or the Atlantic?
The Atlantic by 10,000 degrees.
Great.
There's different lifestyles on both sides, and I would say actually the lifestyle of the Western United States is probably a little bit more fun and like free form, like the personality is different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are definitely more reserved on the East Coast, which is funny because New York is out there, but like there's definitely different attitudes. But in terms of the nature, oh man, I can't get enough of the East Coast.
Cool.
Yeah, I love it out there.
Excellent. What do you want to play next?
Speaking of North Idaho, this song in particular, it's called "It's Been a Long Time." This song's about talking with a stranger in this gas station bar up in North Idaho, which was nearby to my parents where they're living. And it was the only place that I could really go, on a Friday night. And one night I was there and I was, drinking, a couple of beers, and this guy next to me starts talking, and he eventually expresses that he just went on his first date. He was probably around 53, 54, I would peg him as, but, went on his first date at that age. And he also went into his life story and, how hard it was, and, how it makes sense to why, maybe he, just had too much of a traumatized life to experience, romance in this life. But eventually, I guess, you got to give in at some point, and his point was at that age. So this, this song is about, a man's hard life and eventually finding some level of romance. Yeah, it's called "It's Been a Long Time."
Cool.
You met me, the midnight movies, a purple dahlia in your hair. I was such a mess, how could I ever confess I'm not who you think I am? It's been a long time since I drank wine and felt like winning again. I'm old and I ain't got a dime. I could let you know that the times are rough and they were mine. So I'm still the same kid that I've always been. just destined, well, to never win. Alright, but just for tonight, well, I'll drink wine, and I swear this time I'll win again. Just for tonight, I'll drink wine, and I swear this time I'll win again. Oh, I'll win again. The song's called The Meadow. Walk with me down to the meadow's end and fall asleep. It's almost like we're dead, but nothing is for sure. At least that's what you said. While you fade away, the sparrows howl and the aster's gone. I'm leading light down a hollow grove and fade away, but I see you now. Well, you're just a ghost, and flickering lights and making static on the radio. And I tried my best to break. down to the valley's edge and fall asleep. It's almost like we're dead, but nothing is for sure. At least that's what I said. While I fade away.
The Meadow, correct?
Meadow.
DW, your songs are really sonically rich and expressive, lyrically and musically. It's cool. It's great to be here with you doing this interview. This is really fun for me. One of the things that you had referenced earlier was jazz, the mode of music called jazz.
Right.
I used to work with a guy early in my working career, actually at a library, who was deeply passionate about jazz. Mm-hmm. And he first kind of turned me on to it when I was an early mid-teen. Tell us what jazz means to you, your experience and exposure with it.
Oh, man. Well, I didn't have any kind of exposure to it as a child or anything. Or, even as a teenager. For the most part, my teenage years was pretty much punk rock, emo type stuff going on. Yeah. A lot of, Blink-182 and, kind of stuff like that. And then once I got into the idea of studying music at a college level and being exposed to much different, types of music, that's kind of where I grew into jazz. And you kind of have to study jazz if you're going to music school. It's a big part of, as a, something that you learn in music school. And that's kind of why I started my exposure to it. And I've always just been a huge fan of street jazz and, people busking on the street. And some of my most favorite nights are, having some drinks and just wandering about town, and all of a sudden there's a jazz band playing. As some of the coolest nights have been just like, oh my God, what is this? And so I studied jazz formally on guitar for a couple of years. And the last couple of years I've been doing the radio show here. And I kind of just been totally revived with the feeling of jazz and what it brings as an art form, which is, to me, is a lot of joy, a lot of happiness, a lot of like spiritual sort of like positivity and I don't know. There's something about it that makes you want to dance and have a good time, especially the early jazz stuff, which is kind of my favorite era of jazz.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. As many argue, one of the most originally American forms of music. We don't need to digress on that too much now, but I'd love to. We don't have too much time left, but it's so unique and rich. But let's give a quick shout out to your show, Legends and Luminaries. It's every other Tuesday, correct? Right. In the evenings. Is it from 8 to 10 p.m.? Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Every other Tuesday.
Yep. Legends and Luminaries. Again, DW Doucet. Let's see where we are here time-wise. We have time for at least one more. Probably two. Yeah. Yeah. Switching guitars. Let's do it. Why don't you play one more song? We'll see where we are, and then go from there.
This song is called Never Gonna Die Young. I'll just get into it.
Cool.
don't know why I threw my shoes in the river. I don't know why I kissed you at midnight. I've been trying to live harder. I've been trying to die younger. I don't know why I danced to you that night. I never should have dreamed that dream of you. I never should have got that tattoo that says I was born to lose, when I know I'm not strong. I don't know why I danced to you that night. I wish you didn't know who John Prine was. I wish you couldn't sing my favorite song. See, I've been counting my missing years, and I still have all my souvenirs of all these tears and laughs in between. Well, maybe I'll find some work at the sawmill, collect all the fines of all I never did. If I could run a bit faster, if I could dream, well, a bit longer, well, maybe I'll know I danced you that night. Too wrong for this town. We spent all these many years just running around like we were always gonna die young, but we were never gonna die young. Well, what if I never danced you that night? Go for it. Throw your shoes in the river.
Cool. Thanks, DW.
Thank you.
As we wrap up here, a couple things I want to make sure to highlight is some of the music that you've recorded. You released an album in 2017, yeah? As I Roam Across a Dark Blue Night?
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
And just earlier this year, you released a new album called American Dust, yeah?
Right, yeah.
Congratulations. It's wonderful. Thank you. How do they feel similar or different to you, those two recordings?
Oh, man. Well, my voice was higher back in 2017. That's a big one. That record was definitely the culmination of a lot of my 20s and kind of just starting out as a songwriter. And all these songs that are on American Dust are really the heart of what I went through as a songwriter, and kind of matured and found my voice. So they're pretty big differences between them. This has been a great record to do, and yeah, it's out. It came out in March, so just keep riding that wave.
Awesome. Was production different? Was it?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Did you learn a lot from the first?
Yeah, this was
development of the second.
I mean, it took about 2 years to record this album.
Mm-hmm.
And that one back in 2017 took about 3 days.
Oh wow! Okay.
So major difference between all, yeah. I mean, it's a full length record, and yeah, we kind of spaced out the days quite a lot through the recording process. So, but sometimes things need to marinate and they need to take time. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, again, congratulations. Let's do this. I am going to give some additional shout outs. And then I think we'll wrap with one final song. Thanks,
Cool.
everyone, for turning on and tuning in to KRFC FM 88.9. Find us on YouTube. You can check out all these live at lunch performances on podcasts as well. Thanks to our viewing and listening audience. And many thanks to DW for being here and sharing your music and thoughts with us. It's
Absolutely.
been great to be here with you.
Absolutely.
What are you going to send us out with?
Oh, I might as well do, since I have this guitar in my hand. This song is called Grandpa. It's by my grandpa Cal. He used to drink in the outhouse.
DW, one thing I want to ask. That's a trip. I can't wait to hear the song. Any other socials that you'd like to share with folks? Other ways they can connect with you and your music and so on? Facebook, any of those kinds of things that you have available?
DWDoucet.com. Kind of links to everything else. I'm on YouTube, streaming services. You can buy my music on Bandcamp. And I also have vinyls and CDs of my latest record. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate
Sure
you.
thing.
Morning whiskey in my coffee. I feel like myself again. And old pictures of you by that unplugged phone. Would I finally see them after all these years? I left home to find my youth. I only found you. Watch the midnight ships roll in, cigarettes in the harbor light. You said to take my time, so I took my time. Screaming songs in the rain, swimming in the St. Lawrence, while Grandpa's drinking in the outhouse again. He's just thinking of the one he loved so long ago. I've been haunting this dive. I've been dancing to no music. Been spending time with a bottle you'd like. I've been flashing every stranger your smile. Well, I found some new truth here where you lost your youth. Stumbling every mile, I've been roaming for some time.
retracing your steps, feel like myself again. Screaming songs in the rain, swimming in the St. Lawrence. Grandpa's drinking in the outhouse again. He's just thinking of the one he loved so long ago. I've been screaming songs in the rain, I've been swimming in the St. Lawrence. Oh, Grandpa's drinking in the outhouse again. So I can think of the one I loved so long ago.